England 1, France 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into this. So here's my 5 points on the loss. England get knocked out of the FIFA World Cup 2022 by France. Let's go. Number 1, team approach and structure to the game. We talked about it in the review, how Gareth Southgate was going to set up, was going to change to a 3 or the 5 at the back. Didn't do that. He kept it as 4. I think that was the best decision. As England could see, they played decently throughout. They competed with the French, but that was just structure-wise. Their approach to the play was a little different. Their hard press that I've been liking from their past couple of games wasn't there up until about 10 minutes before the goal and 10 minutes after. Is it a coincidence that they scored in that time period? No. They were just a lot more intense in that period, but for the rest of the game, especially the first half, they were too passive. They weren't aggressive enough. If you're playing Jordan Henderson, you've got to be intense. You've got to have an intense game plan with pressing included if you're going to play Jordan Henderson. If you're not going to do that, you're not playing to his strengths, and you really should maybe exchange him for someone else. There was a lot of criticism for why he was playing, but I can see why he plays. It's just the approach didn't suit his game. This is how the approach was different, and this is why England didn't play as well. It's no coincidence. Was that due to the French press? Maybe. I'm not too sure though. It wasn't like they had a heavy press like England did in the last couple of games. And anyway, the centre backs have the confidence and ability to play out from the back, as Stones showed multiple times during the game. There was a nice ball into Saka in the middle of the field that Stones did with like the outside of his boot. So you know they have the quality and they have the confidence to do it. So even if the French were pressing or they were afraid of the French press, you know that England have the capabilities to play it out from the back and attack. This wasn't evident. Rice again not doing too well with his positioning, but we'll talk about individuals further on. But just about the approach at the moment, not pressing high enough. This is obviously tactically from Gareth Southgate. As you can see, the players just wouldn't switch off like that. You've been instructed by Gareth Southgate maybe not to press as much this time. This was a worry, I thought, to be honest. Would the English team press as much, and if that was the right idea, because the French may be able to play through them. So this has obviously got on Gareth Southgate's mind as well, and has got the better of him. That's why they probably didn't press as much as they did in the last couple of games. Coincidence that they didn't win the game? I don't think so. I think they should have stuck with what got them there. As we've seen, the 10 minutes before the goal, the 10 minutes after the goal, roughly that time period is when they perform their best. Just constantly on the front foot, pressing, aggressive in the tackle. Jordan Henderson and Bellingham high up the pitch, pressing their players, not allowing Griezmann as much time as he has. That's who picked England apart, really. Antoine Griezmann had a great game and a great tournament as well. He was one of the players I think I picked out in the preview, and he delivered yet again. He's playing like David Silva in that midfield. He just plays on his tippies as a bit of a fairy almost. Not in a bad way, but like he can dance around people almost and plays nice passes. It's just very David Silva-like. Number 2, the big talking point before the game, Mbappe versus Walker. I made a point on this in my preview. But yeah, Kyle Walker proved me wrong, to be fair. Kylian Mbappe seemed not afraid of him, but like he just didn't go anywhere near him. I think maybe in the first 5 minutes he tried to go at him. I didn't see that, but he tried to go at him. I'm guessing he was unsuccessful, and he just stayed away from him the whole game. It's like there's an aura around him. That's what aura is. But yeah, Kyle Walker did very well during the game. I think there was one occasion late in during the second half, Mbappe went at him and done him from pace and fairness because he slowed Kyle Walker down mid dribble. So he was dribbling at him, then he slowed down, which Kyle Walker then slowed down, and then Mbappe burst past him. He didn't get fully past him, but I think he may have got his cross in, which was blocked, or it was cleared anyway. I think it was by John Stone. But yeah, the build-up leading up to this was Operation Mbappe. I think it worked out well. I think Operation Mbappe was just let Kyle Walker man-mark him. You can see when Mbappe came infield that Kyle Walker kind of followed him. I was a little worried about that, if Hernandez or Adrien Rabiot could overlap Mbappe and kind of take advantage of that. But I don't think they did. Mbappe only came inside on the rare occasion. It was just at the start when I seen that. I was like, oh, is that going to be the game plan for the game? But yeah, no, Mbappe stayed quite wide. In fairness, I predicted Mbappe to have a good game with at least a goal and an assist. That's looking foolish now, but yeah, Kyle Walker kept him quiet all night. Maybe that was the French game plan, which was a point I said. It could be the game plan from the French. They just ran it through Griezmann. Dembele versus Shaw on the other side. Dembele got a few runs at Shaw, I'm pretty sure. They didn't really drill it down through Mbappe constantly, and that was probably smart from the French. But when they did go through Mbappe, Kyle Walker seemed to keep him fairly quiet, which proves me wrong. As I said, I thought Kyle Walker had lost a yard of pace. Maybe he had for that one time Mbappe went at him, but yeah, Kyle Walker overall had a decent game up against the supposed best player in the world right now. I'm not disputing that, I'm just saying, but yeah. Gives me a lot more confidence in Walker when he comes back to City now. Shouldn't have doubted Kyle Walker, but the injury, Ismaila Sarr getting past him a couple of times, a little bit of doubt I had, but yeah, did fairly well. Couldn't ask for more, really. It did seem like a man-mark job though. Just the following infield when Mbappe would drop deep as well. Kyle Walker would follow him a little bit. So yeah, it was a little bit of a man-mark job. Like I said, might happen with the Ander Herrera and Eden Hazard comment I made in my preview. So yeah, Kyle Walker, decent game. Mbappe not the worst game either by a long shot, but yeah, Kyle Walker, decent game up against Mbappe. Number 3, we're going to talk about the team performance now. I only picked out the Mbappe Walker one because that was a special one that was a main topic of conversation leading up to the game. If I did every individual duel on the pitch, we'd be here all night. But yeah, team performance. Could Pickford done any more for the goals? Not the Tchouaméni one anyway, that was a banger. And the header was quite decent as well, so I think Pickford couldn't be at fault for any of the goals really. Harry Maguire though lost Giroud for the goal. I don't think it was his man originally, but I think it might have been Declan Rice's. Maybe John Stones was out of position for that goal, maybe too far ahead of the front post, but Harry Maguire seems to be getting a lot of the stick for that goal. Maybe rightly so. He's a centre back and the striker got a header in the box for the goal. The Tchouaméni goal, it's a bit harsh. You could say Bellingham is closing him down fairly well, just he spreads his legs too wide and it goes through his legs really. Maybe that little split second, get a bit closer to him. Can you really fault Bellingham for that? Maybe you can. I'd say Roy Keane probably did, but yeah, a long shot from outside of the box like that, are you expecting it to happen? I'm not so sure. Maybe just that when I was talking about the approach to the game, not pressing and closing down as much, maybe that just had a trickle-down effect into closing down outside the box. Who knows? Kyle Walker, as I said, has had a decent game. Luke Shaw, I can't remember to be honest. I can't remember too much from Shaw. I think he seems solid and secure on the ball. Create much? I'm not sure. To be honest, England didn't create much in general. People saying England played better. Yeah, possession doesn't win games. We've seen that many times, especially for City or just Pep in general. Just possession, yeah, it's a great stat, but it doesn't win games. Goals win games. France had more goals. England only scored because of a penalty, and they were only going to score the second one because of a gifted penalty. Like, that cross was well over Mount's head, so they would have got gifted another penalty. Not that it wasn't a penalty, but it was still a gift. So outside of that, I think maybe the Saka chance on his right foot, that was the only other real chance. Maybe a Maguire header or two in the box. They were the only real chances. Maybe you could say that's the same for the French, but the French put theirs away, so what can you say? They scored their 2 good chances. Adrien Rabiot had a good chance as well, so on the balance of play and created chances, France, not gonna say it was undeserved victory, of course not. Can't really say it's an undeserved victory. England would have only drew on 2 penalties and drawn it to extra time, maybe penalty. France actually scored 2 legitimate chances, so England only had the chance to pull it back to a draw. So I don't know how you can say they deserved to win just because of the possession they held. But yeah, I thought Foden had a decent game. He shouldn't be played on the wing for England. He's played on the wing for City because the City have better midfielders. Phil Foden came into the middle of the pitch for about 10 seconds. He had about 2 or 3 touches, and from then on I was like, yeah, get him in the middle. He just kept the ball ticking, kept the ball moving, progressing play. He just looked so much, not maybe more comfortable in midfield, but he looked comfortable in midfield compared to the other English players. None of them can play that centre attacking role, so when he did it, it only took 10 seconds for me to realise that he should have been there the whole time. But yeah, another manager error, I reckon. Bellingham, we all wondered how he performed on the big stage. I thought he played quite decently, dropping deep, taking initiative to get on the ball. Henderson, I've talked about Henderson. The approach to the game isn't part of his strength. You have to play to his strengths for him to perform. That 20-minute period in which they scored, he was doing that. Same with Bellingham, that's why they scored, I reckon. But yeah, Bellingham, even though I was looking to see how he performed on this stage, I thought he performed quite well. Some people don't, maybe just because he wasn't involved in any goals or anything, or the approach play didn't suit his game either. Remember, he was the one closing down people for goals in the last game or so. Drummer outside the box for the counter-attack. Didn't suit his game either, but he was able to drop deep, get on the ball and progress it as well. It just didn't work out for the team-wise anyway. Saka was decent actually. Nice cutting inside from him. He got the ball in central areas a bit. Won the penalty too as well. Tame shot on his right foot too. Saka had quite a decent game to be fair. But yeah, Phil should have been played in the middle more. Declan Rice, I don't know on Declan Rice. I don't think he had a great game. Probably didn't close down Griezmann enough because Griezmann was getting on the ball low. Declan Rice's positioning when the centre backs on the ball as well. I talked about this before, but it's just not good enough. Centre backs don't have options. Harry Kane, he actually had a great game up until the missed penalty. He scored the first penalty. I know that's been on your mind playing against a club teammate in goal and Lloris. He passed the first time, but the second time around, not so much. Not helping his bottler name, is he? Or bottler reputation. He dropped deep quite well. He looked like he was trying, like sometimes on the big stage, he's just out of the games, he's not on the ball. But this game was completely different, to be honest. But yeah, decent game from Harry Kane. He just crumbled under the pressure a bit. Maybe the second penalty up against a club teammate got to him. He went for the same side almost, but just a lot more power. But yeah, not good for Harry Kane. Team performance wasn't all that bad because, as we did say, they did have most of the possession. Maybe the French let them do it, but obviously they must have been not superior on the ball, but just competed with them. That's what I wanted to see from England, if they could compete with the French. I know the result is obviously bad for them, but I said if they're going to lose, as long as they compete with the French and show that they're on that level, which they did, to be fair. The French just were able to take their chances a little bit better. But yeah, decent game from England, but they lost and they've gone home. They had to be better, so yeah. Number 4 now, we'll talk about the French team, the team that won. They obviously played better because they got the right result. Maybe not possession wise or the way they played, but they took their chances performances. Antoine Griezmann, as I said, playing like little, I was going to say little David Silva, but David Silva's quite small as well, but playing like David Silva, red and everything. He just seemed like the heart of that team. England looked good though until that Tchouaméni goal. Was it against the run of play? Not too sure, but it changed the game altogether. Great goal by Tchouaméni, by the way. Mbappe, as I said, not a highlight performance up against Kyle Walker, who I said had a good game. Giroud, the man Giroud, I talked about in the preview. On the biggest stage, he's performed yet again. Another goal to his record, and he's on 4 goals for the tournament, so maybe a World Cup golden boot as well. Go along with the winner's medal, which I predict will happen. The winner's one anyway. I don't know, maybe the golden boot might happen too. Mbappe's still up there in that conversation. But yeah, Antoine Griezmann was my standout performer for the French. He can pick up spaces so well. Like David Silva. I'm gonna stop using that analogy. Antoine Griezmann as a player on his own, he could find space as well. He was the one who whipped it in for Giroud, wasn't it? He got the assist for that. So he was a good set piece taker as well. Getting on the ball, dictating play, threading passes, setting the tempo. Good performance from Griezmann, and a decent professional performance is usually the words that you'd use for that type of game and that type of win. They got the job done. They keep increasing the quality of their play for every stage they come up against. So England were a little harder. They raised their game just a little bit above them and get the win. Upamecano at the back had a bit of a strange game. He was always so desperate to get in front of the England player to intercept the ball, and he committed a couple of fouls, and he almost gave away a penalty as well. Going forward, he's got to get rid of that. I've seen it online before that that's a part of his game, that he's a little too aggressive, and yeah, it almost costs the French in this game if they gave that Kane penalty, but they didn't. I think it might have been. They did start outside of the box, but then his foot did catch his like calf on the line maybe, or it started outside the box and it continued inside the box, which part of the rules would be a penalty. But yeah, always trying to get in front of his man to intercept balls. Probably wasn't the right approach. I think he fouled Saka. Yeah, I think was he the one that tackled Saka for the foul as well? Forgot to say about that. Yeah, that Saka foul. I think it was a foul. Was it too long in between though? Yeah, probably. It was quite a while. It wasn't like a counter track straight away and scored. There was passes between multiple players on the way up. Yeah, I'm not sure you could rule that part out. So they may have got away with one. The foul was a foul. It should have been given. So unlucky for England and lucky for France, I guess. But yeah, Upamecano was the centre back that kind of struggled this game, and he wanted to get better in the semi-final and final, because with Morocco, they're an intense team as well now. He'd want to be on his A game to make sure it doesn't cost the French the game. So a decent performance by the French, enough to get them to the semi-final. They are my favourites for the tournament. So yeah. Number 5, moving forward for England now. What do England do? And especially Gareth Southgate, the manager, didn't exactly give England confidence that he'd be leaving anyway. Maybe confidence that he, because he's leaving, but that he wouldn't stay till 2024. I think it would be the right decision if he goes. He's been a decent manager. Do you know what he's done well? He's flipped the script on how the country views the team. He's got them to semi-final, final, then quarter-final, though knocked out by France. I said before, that's not an embarrassment, because they did compete. Probably a couple of years ago, they wouldn't have competed with the French. So he's raised their game up to the level that I think he's capped at now. I don't think he can take England any further, unless he changes, obviously, but I don't think he's able to take them forward. The rumours are maybe Pochettino, Thomas Tuchel. I think, although actually I've seen a couple of rumours about Steven Gerrard, and I would give him the England job with a 10-foot pole. Although Jamie Carragher obviously wants it to be an Englishman, that's probably because he knows Gerrard's up for the job. I don't think it has to be an Englishman. They've had Fabio Capello before. The women's manager isn't English, and did she win the World Cup? No, she won the Euros with them. And the men's team just allergic to success and don't want the England team to do well. Maybe a little bit of politics in here, but politics is probably what's holding them back. But yeah, I do think Gareth Southgate should leave. I'd like Luis Enrique to come in. Is Pochettino a bit Spursy for the England job? I don't know. He did do well with Spurs in like 15, 16, 16, 17 and developed Dele Alli fairly well. If Pochettino came in, I reckon he'd play Phil Foden in midfield, or James Maddison even. He'd have like one of those two attacking midfielders in an attacking role. So I wouldn't be against him coming in. Thomas Tuchel, 3 or 5 at the back, I hate that. No, if he's going to play that, I don't want him in there. But yeah, Gareth Southgate, he's done well. He's done decent. He's not done exceptionally well as some pundits would have you believe. I think draws have been very lucky for him. The first World Cup, they got knocked out by the first decent team in Croatia that they played. Euros, they beat Germany, which we now have seen to be an average German side, but I'll give them that result fair enough. They lost to an Italian team when they should have won that game. The Italians aren't even at the World Cup, so that shows you the kind of level, although they did perform very well in the Euros. But the English went ahead, and then Gareth Southgate I don't know if he told them to sit back, but they just dropped off after they scored the first goal in the first minute, which was a horrendous decision to do. But yeah, he's not tactically astute either. He's not like one of the geniuses of the game, although neither is Steven Gerrard. But yeah, I think think Gareth Southgate should leave. He's flipped the image of England. This is as far as he can take them. Time to get in a real pro, so to say, or one of the top dogs, because there are 3 guys around. Thomas Tuchel is around, although he'd play 3 of the 5 at the back. He'd be perfect for a knockout competition now, as we've seen with Chelsea in the Champions League, and he's just multiple pedigrees above Gareth Southgate. Pochettino, probably not on that Tuchel level, but he's levels above Gareth Southgate yet again. He would play an attacking style of football, I reckon, which is what England fans want to see. And with Phil Foden in a midfield role, I reckon I wouldn't mind seeing that either. So yeah, that's how I think England should move forward, replacing Gareth Southgate with one of those 2, not Steven Gerrard. Steve Cook, I heard, is another one, but I'm not sure who he is. And because of that, I'm going to say he's rubbish. Because if you're any good, I've probably heard of it. But yeah, who was the third one? Roberto Martinez. Keep him away from the job. We've seen what he's done with the Belgium golden generation. He gets the job. That's a disgrace. Because if you're going to bring in a foreign manager, bring in a top one, not that clown. You've seen what he's done to Belgium. But yeah, Gareth Southgate out. One of them 2 top dogs in, or Luis Enrique. I'd like Luis Enrique. He's my preferred choice, because with Spain there was a bit of Barca Madrid politics in who he'd pick, so yeah, there'd be none of that. He'd play a good possession style of football. I hope he'd put Foden in midfield as well. I reckon he would. Yeah, my top 2 is Luque at number 1, Pochettino number 2, just for style of play, Tuchel number 3. But yeah, just because style of football. I think he's probably above Pochettino in the pecking order, although I think Luis Enrique is top dog. Yeah, so that's how I think England should move forward. Do I think that's what they will do? I think Gareth might leave, or will leave. There's been a lot of talk about it now for him to not leave. I think there's no smoke without fire. But will they bring in Steven Gerrard? I beg not. I hope not. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Actually, leave a comment down below on who you'd like to take over, and if you think Gareth Southgate should leave at all. Probably most, I'm probably guessing you will say, actually there's no one in the comments, so but yeah, if there is anyone, leave a comment down below who you want in charge of England going forward. Depends if you're English or not. If you're not English, you're probably going to suggest Steven Gerrard, but yeah, let me know. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below how you think England could have played better on that game, or what they could have changed. Leave that down below, your thoughts on how England could have done better. And as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.